You're like, wow, this guy's a scumbag. I can't support this awful filth, and you're busy trying to unsubscribe from the channel and Hey, welcome to GT Canada. Today I want to talk about scalping. Yes, right now, if you've been paying attention, the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X and S has just released. It's been out for about a week. Leading up to the release though, there was a lot of discussion around scalping. People scalping the systems. And if you've been watching the news or in your social media feeds, there are a lot of articles talking about how these systems are selling for $1,000, $2,000, some are even claiming as much as $5,000. Now I wanted to talk to you about my first-hand experience scalping a game system. So first off, I'm going to tell you how I came about two PlayStation 5s. A couple months ago, when the press release was finished and they said that they would be ready for pre-order starting right away, I jumped onto Best Buy's website and I was lucky enough to get my hands on a pre-order sale. Immediately after that, stories started circulating about how Best Buy had sold more systems than what they actually had available, and that they would not be able to fulfill the pre-orders. So later that same day, when Walmart had their pre-orders come available, I got tipped off that they had showed up, and I thought, hey, I'll give it a shot. What could it hurt? So I signed up, added it to the cart, and multiple times I got to the checkout and it kicked me out. And it said, this item's no longer available. So I went back, added it again, went through the cart, and same deal. It said, this item's no longer available. And I thought, great, I missed it, but at least I got the Best Buy one. I tried a few more times, and one of those times it actually went through and it said, congratulations, you're on the list. For the next 2 months, I went through a roller coaster of emotions where people were saying that their orders had been canceled, other people saying that they got word that they would not get their order in time, other people saying their order was confirmed, but the delivery date was going to be sometime in the new year. And I had no idea. I had 2 on pre-order and I had no idea if either of them was going to show up. I did not list a pre-sale up because I had no idea if I was going to get even 1, let alone 2. Fast forward to the launch day. I did not get anything on launch day. The next day though, I did have 1 of the 2 PlayStations show up. And I opened it up and I did a series of videos, which you've probably already seen on the channel. If you haven't, then check out up over here. I'll link you to the playlist that'll play you through all the videos that I've made so far about the PlayStation 5, its features and testing and functionality and peripherals and all of that. My other pre-order was still kind of in limbo. Finally, I got an update that it had shipped. And then a few days later, it showed up at the door. Now I've got 2 PlayStations. I don't need 2 PlayStations, so I thought, whatever, I'll sell it. So this is where we get into a little bit of a gray area. Now I know some people get right angry when you start talking about taking a game system and then selling it for a profit due to scarce supply. So demand is high, supply is low, and that creates that mismatch. This is capitalism in its truest form. This is where an agreement between a buyer and a seller is struck, and the value of that item is decided between the buyer and seller. Personally, as a third party to these transactions, I don't care. If a buyer wants to pay $2,000, $3,000, $5,000, for a game system and they're willing to spend their money on their own, they're not drunk, they're not on drugs, nobody's holding a gun to their head forcing them to pay the money, then who cares? Why should you care? Why should I care? I personally don't care. So I put my PlayStation 5, my spare one, for sale on eBay. I put it on a 1-day auction, so that means 24 hours. I didn't want to wait 7 days for it to close and all of that business. So I put it for sale. It went up to about $850, $860, and it stayed there until about an hour before the auction closed. And then there was a bidding frenzy, and it went up to $2,000 before it closed. So if you've been looking at the articles in social media, my PlayStation would be considered one of the ones that sold for $2,000. On the surface, that's what you see and that's what you think is happening. But what you don't know is that somebody created a fake account that day and bid my auction up to $2,000. Somebody else had a fake account and they were bidding against each other to raise that price to $2,000. My console did not sell for $2,000, even though eBay reports that it did. What I ended up doing was offering a second chance offer to one of the real bidders who agreed on a price with me, and I ended up selling it to him. I made a little bit of profit, but nowhere near as much as you would think that is being made when you look at the completed auctions on eBay. Also, in my area, I saw guys on the local classifieds, they started listing at $1,500 and then they lowered to $13 and they lowered to $12 and $11. Currently, they're listing at $850 to $950. They're not selling that fast. I believe that the true market value of a PlayStation 5 right now is somewhere closer to $850, which has a marginal markup, but that's what people are willing to pay. There is an underlying tone though. Some people are actually going out of their way to make their day miserable, tie up the auctions for multiple days. So for example, my auction, which closed for $2,000, eBay says I have to wait 2 days for the buyer to not pay me, even though I know he's not gonna pay. I didn't wait, I just offered the lower price to somebody right away because I could tell that this guy was not going to pay. So I've reported him and that account will get banned, but they'll just make another email account and bid them up. For fun, I listed a number more auctions of the same and watched and observed the exact same trend, to where in the last few moments there are fake accounts bidding the price up from what I can tell of every PlayStation on eBay. So the pricing that you're seeing is not true. People are not getting that much money and nobody's paying that much money. You may think that they are because that's what it looks like, but I'm telling you as someone who's been behind the scenes, they're not selling for that much. Now, I personally have experience through a couple different generations of console sales, and it goes all the way back to the Nintendo 64 when I was in high school, and I know that dates me a little bit, but when that launched, my friend's dad was telling me about how in the United States, the console was selling for double what people had bought it for, and sometimes as much as $2,000 back then. And I was kind of awestruck by that. So fast forward a bit, when the PlayStation 3 came out, I thought, hey, why not? So I camped out for 2 days for a PlayStation 3, and I bought a launch PlayStation 3. And at the time, I believe the cost was about $600 Canadian, which would be equal to what a PlayStation 5 costs right now anyway. And I did the same thing, I sold it on eBay. And at that time, I was able to sell it for a profit, and it worked out great. I did the same with the Wii, bought a Wii, sold it for a profit. I skipped the next generation. I didn't buy PlayStation 4, but I thought with PlayStation 5, let's try it again. Am I a scummy person? Maybe I am. And maybe you're watching this, you're like, wow, this guy's a scumbag. I can't support this awful filth, and you're busy trying to unsubscribe from the channel and leave to never come back again. The reason I tell you about this is my experience with the PlayStation 3 was very similar to the experience that I had here. My auction back then, now this is 15 years ago, it sold for $2,200. The buyer did not complete the sale, so I had to go back and offer an off price to the next highest bidder and work my way down until I found the next highest bidder. So even back then when they were reporting these ridiculously high sales numbers on the black market for these game systems, they were not true numbers. They were not getting the true numbers. It's not something to get all excited about. Some of the systems are selling for a little bit more than what the list price is, and that's great. Someone's Christmas gets to be better because someone who has a system is able to get it into the hands of somebody who wants a system. I don't understand the concern. I don't understand the problem. I'd love for you to leave a comment down below. What do you think about scalping? Now that you know that the prices are not nearly as high as what you originally thought, has it changed your opinion about scalping? If you are scalping, I'm gonna put that in air quotes. If you are scalping, tell me about your experience. Has it been the same as what I've experienced? Or have you been able to get that $5,000 that people are bidding on these items? So I hope you enjoyed the content from the episode today. Check out some of the other videos over here, and we hope to see you again. Subscribe and have a great day.